And good evening. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner here from the Highline Activity Center. I'm Paul McDonald, your host here for Coach's Corner on this second show of the season. And we're going to start things off and talk about football. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to have current Highliners playing football. Now we're going to talk about future Highliners that are playing football. And that, of course, is the Thunder football. And Ryan Mathias joining us. How you doing?
Doing great, Paul.
It's hard to believe you're ready to go kick off here next week for your first game.
Yeah, we started practices here 3 weeks ago, and yeah, it's going quick and everything. The kids are ready. They're chomping at the bit to get out there and show what they can do on the field.
And getting a chance to see a couple of wins now for the varsity, I bet that really gets them wanting to get out there.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. This year, the varsity players and coaches have come and supported us at practices and things like that. And the kids have been just thrilled to be able to be part of the Highliner program and Thunder program. So
how about numbers? Looks like, looking at the two rosters, looks like you're doing pretty good numbers-wise.
Yeah, we are. We've got 34 kids out and everything. So 17 kids, 2 teams that we run and everything. It works out really well. Every kid gets to play quite a bit and that. So it's been a good it's going on for a while now.
23 years. Talked with Mike last year. Mike Lentz, I think this will be about the 23rd season.
Yep, that's what I believe it is too. So
or around in those. That even started before Derek Bear was born. Sorry, Derek, I had to do that. But this year you get 6 coaches too. I think 3 for each team helping out, and having these volunteer coaches helping out. Ryan, how big is that? Having these guys and gals just step up and help out.
Oh, it's huge. Like my son is now a 7th grader, so. As a parent, I want to go watch his games and stuff too. So it's nice to be able for me to get away and have the other coaches be able to take over and run the practices and that stuff too. So we've actually got seven coaches and everything with us too. So, but it works out. We still could use another 3. Coaches, 10 coaches would be about perfect for us. So it would be really nice if we got a few others to join our ranks too. So,
well, with Trevor being a 7th grader now and going through a couple of years of Highliner or Thunder football, how big is it as a dad just knowing now when he gets into junior high he's ready for this?
Yeah, that's the big thing. Coach Lentz and the others, when they started Thunder football back in 2001, they started it because they wanted a feeder program for the Highliner program. So that's why we do this. We're trying to build that Highliner program and trying to build a championship program there and everything too. And so it starts with teaching techniques. We every day in practice we work on the proper techniques of tackling, so kids aren't lowering their heads and things like that. They're learning the proper ways to do it. I was an offensive lineman, so it's a lot of technique on offensive line. The 3-step progression and all that stuff. And getting the kids ready to move on and play at the next level, whether it's junior high, going into high school, and hopefully maybe they actually get the opportunity to maybe play for the Vikings or, oh man, we'd love to go watch and play for the Bison. So
and because it can be scary getting when you're a 12-year-old and starting to play tackle football if you've never done that before.
Yeah, and then you got a great big
some
big old
12-year-old coming at you,
and you got a 6-foot coach, and 300-pound coach that's saying, "Oh, you got to get in there." So yeah, it does get scary for those kids and everything. But you know what? We encourage them and we support them and everything. So they tend to get over some of that. Yeah. That being scared and then it's there's some of them, especially if they're, have older siblings that have maybe pounded on them a little bit, and things like that aren't as afraid, and they'll stick their nose in there and they'll mix it up right away and stuff too. So.
Well, I know the Meyer brothers, Coach Milbrandt, Coach Howard, they're the junior high coaches. They appreciate having these guys and gals coming in as seventh graders that have already seen this, so it makes their job a little bit easier.
Yep. That's just it. They come in to their program. They don't have to mess with teaching kids how to put a helmet on.
Yeah.
How to strap your shoulder pads and things like that. So they can actually bring the kids in and they can get to work right away and start working with them at their level and everything too. So
next Tuesday is the first game of the year, and they split. They'll be at separate venues next week.
Yep. I've got the White Thunder, and we are going up to Cooperstown, and then the Royal Thunder, they're going down to Milner. And then Thursday we actually have our first home games. They were supposed to be over in Jamestown, but they had some scheduling conflicts with fields over there. So we're gonna have both games here. They're gonna be late because there is junior high games. So we're gonna hopefully play them around 7:00 and 8:00. So.
Boy, if people want to see the future of Highliners, just come out at about 5 o'clock on next Thursday, the 14th at Hannah Field. And you can watch football for the next 5 hours and and watch these young players get ready and get out there. And do you guys try to simplify things as far as calling plays and so forth? And because coaches can be on the field and can be in the huddle on the offense and on defense. So do you try to run things like similar to what the varsity does, or do you come up with your own scheme?
Yeah, we for the most part we do run our own schemes and what we want to run. Football at the basic levels, it's pretty uniform all the way across. I mean, a dive is a dive, and sweep is sweep. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really change a whole lot going from us to the high school level. You get in, the older you get and more into it, and you get into different formations and motions and things like that. And we try to stay away from that. We might have 2 different formations, and that's about it.
Right.
So.
Well, people want to circle October 10th too onto their calendar because that's the biggie.
Yep, that October 10th this year is going to be the Thunder Bowl. So it's the White versus Royal, and we're looking at trying to do something a little special with that and everything too, and just kind of showcase those kids and because we've got some great kids. It's been just a fun year so far. These kids are learning so much. It's great. It's been a lot of fun so far this year.
When you talk young youth programs, feeder programs, whether it's football, baseball, hockey, basketball, you need to maybe get a little funding, some fundraisers to help with uniforms and so forth. And are you guys kind of working on that to maybe have something down the line?
Yeah, with everyone in Valley City knows. I mean, there's always fundraising that needs to be done. But one of our biggest things that it's been a few years since we've looked at our helmets and in the day and age where we're all trying to prevent concussions, especially in our youth and everything, we want to make sure that we have some of the top grade helmets and things like that. So. We've actually got a guy coming in tomorrow night to talk to us and look at our helmets and things like that and give us a proposal. So, we're going to be out there looking for donors that want to help out, and every penny, it doesn't matter, big or small, it all helps. And it's going to go for those kids and the new equipment and everything that they need in order to keep our program going.
And you have a Facebook page if folks want to go to Facebook and find out more.
Yep. You can go VC Thunder Football on Facebook. My wife kind of runs that and everything. So if you check that out, we'll have pictures on there on occasion, and any information that is Thunder and stuff there. So it all goes out. So
Next Tuesday, Milner and Cooperstown are the two sites, but next Thursday, the Thunder football will be home against Jamestown. Both teams playing Jamestown?
yep, both teams playing Jamestown. Last year we were undefeated against Jamestown, so we're hoping that we can keep that streak going and everything. And I guess you're going to be live streaming those
Yep.
games and everything too.
It's going to be a full day of football.
Yeah, so those kids will be able to go to the YouTube page and watch them, or Grandma and Grandpa if they're ways off and can't see the game, they get to watch it. So
And it'll probably be under the lights if you're going to get started around 7:30.
yeah, it should be. It'll be a new experience for the kids.
All right. Well, again, practice again. The last practice before it starts for you tomorrow, and the next Tuesday, first games of the year for Thunder football. And we'll probably talk again as the season progresses here and keep up to date on what's going on with the Thunder.
Hey, that's fine with me. And and that's the thing. I mean, we started this, or Mike started it many years ago, and as that feeder program, and we want the kids to come out and be able to learn now and carry that on all the way through high school. So 34 kids this year. I'd love to have all 34 of those kids playing as juniors and seniors. So I think there's another bald guy over here waiting to come on that would love to see that too. So
Shouldn't say that about Connor. He's got hair. But and he's going to talk about it, I'm sure. But again, Ryan, we appreciate it. Looking forward to another great season of Thunder football, and the home opener next Thursday with Jamestown. It'll be after the junior high games, around 7:00 for Thunder football for next Thursday night for their home opener. Thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it.
yep. Thank you very much for having me, Paul.
You bet. That is Ryan Mathias, Thunder football. And again, their home opener next Thursday, the 14th of September. We'll be back and talk Highlander football coming up. And this is Coach's Corner from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner on the Highliner Activity Network here from the Hack. Well, we just talked about the future of Highliner football with Thunder football and Ryan Mathias. Now we'll talk about the current Highliner football program. Coach Travis Ingen and receiver Connor Sir joining us. Gentlemen, how you doing on this Wednesday night?
Perfect. Doing well. Doing well.
Good practice for you today?
Yeah, but it was a good day.
Good. Well, it better be a good day. You're off to a 2-0 start. Well, Connor, we'll start with you. Just last week here against Watford City, home opener too. How fun is it? Just you have that home opener, you guys get introduced to the home field and come out. How big is that for you?
Well, it was interesting that we did things a little bit differently this year. Last year we'd walk out as a team, and now this year we have our starting lineups introduced. So just hearing everybody's name being called and whatnot, it's different. And it's something that we've all wanted for years and years. And to see that it's coming my senior year is nice, you know. And, you know, our crowd, you know, we bring great energy. Last week, you know, you could hear everyone. The student section was doing good. I could hear all the parents yelling and screaming. We were doing good, and it definitely motivates us to play some good football.
And then hearing that train whistle when you get those touchdowns, that's got to be fun for you too.
That's a sweet addition. When we had that last year, hearing that for the first time, that was something.
And you want to hear it at least 20 times this year after you score, right?
Yeah. I want to hear it as much as I can.
Sorry, Travis, I didn't mean to put the cart before the horse on that one.
Nobody else will be jealous at all.
But Travis, here looking at the Watford City game, again, the defense playing well. Right now, the defensive line seems to really be wreaking havoc. You had a good athletic quarterback. That Baldenegro for Watford City was an athletic guy, but you seem to control him fairly well.
Yeah, you know, it goes back to something we've just been saying for the last couple of years, is just do your job, control your gap, play sound defense, and let the defense take over. And our D-line really takes that to heart. You know, they don't get a lot of credit. They don't get a lot of stats, you know. They always talk about making linebackers all conference players and stuff like that. And there's some truth to that to a degree. But they take it to heart about causing disruptions. And that's the biggest thing we talk to our D-line about is you cause the disruptions, push the O-line back, make the running back bounce, make the quarterback throw it a little early, make him throw it off his back foot. Just those little things allows our DBs a lot more time, and they've done a great job. Christian, you know, has been doing a great job up front. He's got a heck of a challenge this week with their center, but Scott Rhodey has really done well. And then Dylan started last year for us, and he's improved. And, of course, the addition of Carter Borg has stepped in and just done a great job at the end position for us.
And the defense has scored twice now. Wilshire had the fumble recovery for a touchdown, and then they had the safety here on Friday night.
Yeah, you know, Will get credit for it, of all things. You know, somebody gets credit for the safety, so Will was first one there, and so he got credit, which is a great thing, right, because that's hustling to the ball.
Yeah.
That's the key, you know, and we talk about that. We call it full throttle, and we practice that of running to the ball, pursuit to the ball, and our guys have taken that to heart, where we need to see 11 guys on camera, and that's the biggest thing. We tell our DBs, you better at least go up and take that running back. The whole idea is behind when you tackle that running back, I want that running back to run through 11 highliners. He's going to get tired of seeing us, and then they're going to run a little slower, you know, and everything else, and that's the idea behind our full throttle.
Last week, first play from scrimmage, and you know what the play is, because obviously you know what the play's called, and you know if it's there, something big's going to happen, Connor. So is that exciting for you too, knowing, hey, if this play's there, this is going to be a fun way to start the first home game and the first play from scrimmage, and 65 yards later, you got a touchdown.
Yeah, no, it's definitely important to set the tone right away, and I was glad that we were able to do it first play. And, you know, a lot of people look at the guy that's just scoring and running, but we had Dylan Hunt running all the way across the field. He had a post route on the other side of the field, and he ran all the way down there, and without him, I wouldn't have scored. He blocked two guys at the same time for me, you know. And we had Derek Shape running right past me. As soon as I caught it, he blocked somebody too. And that's, as a team, is what makes the big plays happen. It's not just one person, you know.
You have that convoy. And that's something too. You talk about defense. That's something too. Offense, if you're going to work, you need 11 guys doing something.
We talked, and Connor hit right up, head on the nail, was it would have been a completion, maybe a first down, right? But we had guys without the ball sacrificing themselves to go make blocks downfield. And then that just happened to turn into a 65-yard touchdown pass. It looks great, but that is a 10-yard completion, maybe 12, whatever it was. But we had guys, Derek Shape, who's 140 pounds, says, I'm going to go block. And Dylan Hunt is on the opposite end. I bet you he ran 90 yards. to go make 2 plays so Connor could score. You know, that's selfish. It's awesome. It's the greatest thing in the world from seeing that on our offense.
And when you catch that and you turn, you're like, there's nobody here. Where are the white jerseys? It's like, do you almost get surprised? You
Yes.
forget, what do I got to do next? Oh yeah, run.
No, it was very surprising, and then all I could think of was just, well, let's let the play unfold and see what happens. And then I see 2 blue jerseys and then more coming out in front of me, blocking for me, and that just felt good. You know, they just came out there and they helped, and that's just what you need.
I was going to give, next time I see Joan, I'm like, how'd you get caught from behind on your punt return, Joan? Come on, man. You got to score these. You know, you got to score, 2 plays, 2 touchdowns, but he got caught from behind. But he's got some wheels, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do. We got a lot of good skill guys, you know. And, yeah, we say Connor's a receiver, but don't be surprised if he's lining up as the H, you know, because he can definitely do that. And that's kind of the idea behind that offense is you can't just look at one guy, take one guy out, and we'll mix and match them and move them around. Caden Amon, Caleb McLaughlin, Connor, they can all play the H really well. And don't be surprised if you see Derek Shake playing the H or whatever. They were putting Carter out there as the Z route, you know, running the Z patterns. And so that's the idea. And so there was a lot on our skill guys this year to learn a new offense and then learn 5 positions. And so there was a learning curve, and there still is a learning curve. At times we still sit there and go, all right, let's think about it, and that's why we practice and everything. So
5 different receivers caught passes here too. Your tight ends each had a couple with Jackson, with Jack Dieterle and Dylan Hunt. Your receivers, your backs. Is that something to with this offense that you're going to try to get everybody involved?
yeah, that's the idea. We try to look for mismatches. There's definitely, you know, if we're just going to key on one guy, you know, and everything. But you know, what we try to do is put our guys. I think I said last week, put our guys in positions to have success. You know, and then when everybody's catching the ball, everybody's still in the game, right? If we're just throwing the ball to Connor the whole game, the other guys are like, well, why am I trying this hard and stuff like that? So they don't know on any given play, any one of our guys can catch the ball. And that puts a lot of threat on a defense that we play. Because just like us, we're going to try to match up best we can. They're going to try to match up. Well, who are they going to put on our guys? And so Bryson has done a nice job of getting the ball to a lot of different receivers, but he's thrown it to the open receiver because they might put a corner on one of our guys, which makes sense, one of our faster guys, good. Put a linebacker on Connor, and I feel we have the advantage. And now you got one guy less in the box, now we can run the ball a little easier and stuff like that. So the idea behind the offense doesn't always work to perfection, but the idea is to spread them out and not know who's getting the ball and everything else.
And being the devil's advocate, yes, it's all, great and everything's going great, but I like to look, the negatives too and things that, but you look at the snaps are tough there, but I told somebody on Saturday, I said, you try to bend over and look between your legs and try to pass something between your legs to somebody that's 5-7 yards behind you, see how easy it is for you. But that will come with more repetition.
Yeah, and Christian works on this every day. Pre-practice, we have him middle of practice, not only when he's got to do his individual workout, so he's probably getting 30 snaps a day. But it's just like anything else. We ran 75 offensive plays, let's say, roughly, whatever it was, maybe it was a little less. But to be perfect 75 times, it was perfect 75 times. And he plays both ways.
Right.
And he's got to hit a guy that's actually about 6 inches away from him, and we're expecting him to block him, too. And so it's one of the most difficult positions to play that nobody sees unless you screw up. It's just, that's typical line.
Exactly.
Right? If they hold, they get their name announced. So, but Christian's just, he does a wonderful job, and he works at his craft, and he takes pride in it and everything else. But you're exactly right. Stick your head between your legs and hit a guy that's 300 pounds across from you 75 times a game.
Yeah, see how well you like that,
Right.
And not a lot of penalties. This team's been fairly disciplined, and the turnovers. Those are 2 things that they've really done well so far.
And those are the yards that nobody sees, that we get. When we can play turnover-free football, we're not giving them any gifts. And that's the same with those penalties that'll cost us every once in a while. And so we preach that, we talk about that quite a bit. And it's the discipline, and it goes back to having those seniors. They take great pride in that. and just controlling the leadership out there. So yeah, so far we've been turnover free, which is great. Yeah, knock on wood there. And we've been playing clean football, and that goes back to our experience with some of our guys and everything else. And it's something we talk about is, hey, there's going to be mistakes out there. Let it go. It's the next play. It's the next play.
So what happens next? Now the next game, as we talked about last week, the most important game is the next game. Devils Lake Firebirds, another little 2.5-hour jaunt up north to Devils Lake. Connor, we'll start with you. What do you expect here out of the Firebirds on Friday night?
Well, I know that they don't quit. Last week they were down 27-7 against Horace, and they came back, and they would have had it if they would have gotten that 2-point conversion, and that comeback would have sent waves across the state, you know, because when you're in the fourth quarter and they're down by that many points, a lot of teams just give up after that. And to see them, I know they haven't won a game yet, I believe, but to see that they don't quit, you got to put the foot to the pedal all 4 quarters, and we can't quit. You know, we have to keep playing our best football the entire game. We can't rack up the points first half and then let something like that happen to us.
Yeah.
You know?
And Travis too, is this group that mentality? Is this a good group with that kind of a mentality or not?
It's getting there.
It's getting there,
It's
yeah.
getting there. We talked about, we got a saying this week about no meat is left on the bone. And, you know, I kind of explained it when you go eat some chicken wings. You don't take one bite and throw it away because there's still meat on that bone. And I felt we had meat left on the bone on Friday night.
Right.
And he Connor started talking about that. We got jumped up 23-0 pretty early. Well, it ended 30-0, so that game's a 7-0 game, really. And so that put a little fear in myself, and should be a little bit of a holy smokes for the rest of the season on some of these guys. We haven't had that game yet that it's been nip and tuck yet. And they got to understand that Devils Lake ain't quit. They just proved it against Horace, right? And they made some great adjustments against Horace in that second half. So they're coached up really well. Their players don't quit. So, yep, it's always nice to jump on a great lead, but you got to sometimes be able to, like he said, put the foot down, you know, sometimes you got to experience that, right? We haven't had to experience that this year. We had a chance last week. You get up 23-0, and I was expecting a little bit more.
Right.
And we kind of coasted a little bit, and we got to fix that. So we'll see how we do.
And one thing that was fixed from week 1 to week 2, extra points, got 4 for 4, and I think one glanced off the upright and found its way through. But credit to Colton Greenball. I think one was a bad snap, but he was able to get the ball down, and they got the kick through.
Yeah, Colton does a really nice job holding. You know, he's cool under pressure, right? Nothing bothers him.
Wrestler.
Yeah, it is, right? He's been in that mix before, so he's really good holder for that. And Bryson, of course, is just an excellent kicker, and he can make adjustments. And he's got a strong enough leg. If he's got to stop a little bit and then kick it, it'll go through the upright. Yeah, we made some adjustments. We practiced it. To be honest, that was Ryder Muskie came in to do the snap, and now he's got a bad knee right now. So we're to our second snapper, which is fine. I got all the faith in him, and we just got to rep it. And it goes back to taking pride, right? It took pride for Dylan to run the 85 yards to block for Connor. So our backup snapper's got to do that same thing, that this is an important part of the game. It's just as important as making a tackle or a touchdown or anything else.
You don't get announced, but you are probably more important than the other 2 guys.
Yeah.
Because it starts with you.
Right, exactly right. So that long snapping position is so important. And the good long snappers take pride in it. And a good long snapper doesn't get noticed. And that's what we want.
Right.
That's really what we want, is not to be noticed. And so it's something you just got to work on. And, you know, with our guys, that means they're probably starting. They're playing. So they're tired. They're beat up. And then also we got to get a great snap in the fourth quarter because it's tied up at 20-20 or whatever. And you've already played 60 plays on offense, maybe 30 plays on defense. Now I want a perfect snap. That's where the pride comes in.
That's where it comes in. Final question for you, Connor. Offense, defense, which you do prefer? I think I know the answer, but I'll ask anyway.
I've always been a defensive guy my whole life.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be a receiver with the offense that we've always ran. But my dream is to always be a wide receiver. So now that my last year of football, I am one. That's really motivating, and I'm really glad that I'm actually given the opportunity to showcase what I can do as a wide receiver. And I'm really excited to see what everyone else can do.
Yeah.
You've seen glimmers of other people like Jonah, Dylan. We got quite a few guys that can play receiver, so that's really exciting to play offense and play this kind of offense. And I'm really looking forward to what we can do upcoming with all these games.
You know, you'd like to hit people too every once in a while.
I love hitting
You can
people.
decleat some poor guy over the middle if
Yeah.
they get too risky over there. Final question for you, Travis. Keys to Friday night.
You know, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but we got to stay healthy. That's key one for every time you ask me on that. I'm just going to say healthy. I'm just going to give you a sign that says
Okay.
we got to stay healthy.
Just hold it up.
Yeah, just hold it up. But I think the biggest thing that we got to do, and it doesn't matter what the score is, we have to finish our plays. Okay, we've shown that, but not 4 quarters, right? We finished the first play that we had that scored the long touchdown. We finished that play. Everybody did their job and finished it. We got to do that every single play. And that's kind of been the emphasis this week. So for our goal this week is just to finish that play, And part of my job too is to make sure that, I got him playing both ways, and I got to give him a breather at times. And do we have enough skill guys to come in to give him a breather first? We do, right? And without picking on anybody, do we lose anything? I don't think so,
Yeah.
you know? And players, he goes, hey, wait a minute, I'm a little bit better, but we don't,
Yeah.
you know, and that's been really nice to see out of our senior group is they're not, okay, I'll come out, you know, because they know they're going to go back in and everything, so they're not, it's not you're being demoted. Hey, you got to take 3-4 plays off because I need you at 100%. And so our goal is, and that's part of my job, is to make sure that, we'll say Connor can go 100% when he's out there. So if that means I got to limit his plays to 70, you know,
Yeah.
instead of 90,
Yeah.
I get 60 good out of them instead of 90 maybes out of them. And so it goes back to putting kids in position. The key for us right now, I'll be honest, is to be able to move their O-line. They got a little different defensive, or their D-line, excuse me. Their defense is something we haven't seen this year. It's a 3-4. We've seen it over the years. It isn't mind-boggling by any stretch, but they're good at it. They're really good at it, and they will twist, and they will play games, and they'll blitz. And we got to be able to pick that up because they're not going to not do it against us.
Yeah.
And so we have got to pick it up. So our key is not to have any run-throughs on offense. That's really the biggest thing. And on defensively, our big key is just keep playing the way we are. You know, that's the big thing.
All right, now Friday night on the road at Joe Roller Field against Devils Lake, and that's a 7 o'clock kickoff, the Highlanders and the Devils Lake Firebirds. Travis Ingen, Connor Sir, gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more of our Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. And back on Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network. Next up, we're going to talk Highlander tennis. Coach Matt Nielsen joining us. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you joining us. And match was supposed to happen last night, and it didn't. Because
Nope.
rain happened last night. Not this rain, but rain from the sky.
Yep, and we had rain yesterday, and we're supposed to go play Jamestown, and we actually got practice in yesterday, and our players came JV varsity, and we started playing just some games all intermixed yesterday. And I'm like, the rain's going to come, so we just had an excellent fun practice yesterday with everybody together, and we actually played an hour of games, and I think it was very good for our team camaraderie and for all the GV kids to hit against varsity kids. Had a good time yesterday, and then today we had an excellent practice. I had all my coaching staff back because Susan Kringley was out at the U.S. Open, and so she's back. So she was here today, and Eric and Jamie. So we have two excellent volunteers, and Susan Kringley and Jamie Lafron boys are volunteers that are helping our tennis program, and Eric's our JV coach. So we had our whole coaching complement today, and we'll have them all tomorrow when we play Grand Forks Red River tomorrow.
I'm thinking if we get a chance to chat after the Wapaton duel, the first match of the year, dropped a 5-4 decision to the Huskies.
Yep, so that was last Thursday, and we went in and like we said, we have Miles Taylor as our only player back, and everybody else is new. So we knew Wapaton we were going to be able to compete, and we actually competed extremely well. We lost to Wapaton 5-4, but at the quad we played in Fargo, we got crushed at number 3. Colin Hoff played 3, and he won the second set. So now we're into a third set, and if we win that one, we win the match. Colin got it to 3-all, and then the other player did up his play a little bit, but I couldn't ask for more out of Colin Hoff. He played excellent and a lot. I mean, we played a lot better than we did at the quad, so I was extremely happy with that. And who got our player of the game was Matthew Holm. Matthew Holm is a sophomore, and he's going to be a really good double specialist for us. So he got his first varsity victory that day, and was our player of the game.
And I think you look at the Wapaton match. I think 4, 5, and 6 singles where you picked up your singles wins, didn't you?
Yep. So we picked up singles wins at 4, 5, 6 singles, and we picked up a doubles win at 3 doubles. And Wapaton's top 3 are pretty good, and that was their strength. And we're kind of even all the way through. And so we got all the wins at the bottom. We were one set away of getting that win at 3 singles to get the win against Wap.
And with the young team, you know, you're eager to see what these guys can do in competition. So when you have like last night, a match rained out, you know, it's tough because you want to get out there and see what these guys can do. Now you got Red River, you know, the perennial power coming in home opener here tomorrow night.
Yep, we're gonna have that tomorrow night. So it's 4 o'clock start time, and we're actually at today is the halfway point of the season for our JV kids. So I mean, tennis is only a 7-week season, and then it's a 2-week postseason for a total of 9 weeks. So we're 3.5 weeks in, and we've only had 1 real match. So that's telling you that we got a lot of matches from here on out, because we have to reschedule that Fargo North match because Fargo North canceled with the air quality index for Fargo Public Schools. That's their policy, so we followed that, and so we got to get that makeup in. So we're gonna have a ton of matches in 3.5 weeks, starting with Red River tomorrow, and they're pretty good. They have a lot of their players back. They I don't remember, finished second at state last year. I don't remember, but they're a really solid team. So it's gonna be fun to see what they bring, and I think it's good for us to see a team like that too, because Red River, they don't hit it 100 miles an hour, but they sure can keep it consistent, and that's kind of been our thing, was like, hey, we got to up our consistency. You got to figure out a way to keep balls into play, and we're really going to see that tomorrow. And I think the kids will really be like, wow, you're right. If the balls stay in, you can win a point. So hopefully we can compete extremely well against them. But they're a fantastic team.
And does Minot come in on Friday then too?
Yep. So Minot's coming in on Friday, and Minot is they're nuts out in the West because they don't expect us to reciprocate. They come through, they play us now, they're going to play some Fargo schools, and then in 2 weeks they're going to come back down through for the West Fargo invite. So they make 2 trips to Fargo in the year, and then you got the trip out to state at Grand Forks, and they said, we don't mind, we'll play anyone anywhere. And I'm like, holy goodness, like, you know, how much road time do you have? But they wanted to come play us, so we're playing them in a 6-3 on Friday at 3 o'clock, and they're bringing 12 exactly, so they want to play 2 6-3 lineups, so our JV team gets a shot at actually playing a team match, because JV usually, we play a lot of matches, and it's an excellent experience, but JV doesn't get that team score feel.
Okay.
So it'll be really cool that our JV players get to get that team score feel before they get to be a varsity player.
And getting back-to-back, is that good to see what these guys can do, how they can bounce go back-to-back?
Well, and back-to-back's excellent because when you go to regionals, we play a ton of tennis in 3 days. So you play 3 team matches on Thursday. You can play up to 4 singles matches on the Friday of regionals, and then 3 more matches on Saturday. So I mean,
Okay.
you need to have that experience of, all right, I played a doubles and a singles on Thursday. I'm going to play doubles and singles on Friday, and you're only at 2 matches both days. And when you get to regionals, it's 3, potentially 4, 3. So I mean, we need these so their bodies are used to playing tennis multiple days in a row.
Well, also outside of the matches, coming up next Tuesday, we got a dedication coming up of the new courts.
Yep. So next Tuesday, so we do have a brand new courts up there, the Parks and Rec. They got a great grant through the state. They got a great grant through the USTA, and then it brought the cost down about 50% for the Parks and Rec. And it finally got done, and it's an excellent surface, excellent court. We're having a lot of fun up there. And on next Tuesday, the 12th, Shanley will be coming in, and at 4 o'clock we'll have a dedication. And whoever wants to come and see the dedication is more than welcome to come. And then we also planned that's going to be our fan and player appreciation night. So we will have hot dogs and cookies and fruit, and it's all free will offering. We don't expect anybody to pay anything, but it's anybody who's up there. So any fan that shows up, they can come to the dedication, watch a little bit of tennis, get a hot dog, and it should be a great night.
What do you expect out of Shanley? Is that going to be a good matchup for you guys?
Shanley's going to be a good one. Shanley lost a few players up top, just like we did, and we were very competitive with them last year. And I think with them being down a few players like we are, I think we should see a lot of good competitive tennis next Tuesday.
You're getting a lot of tennis in the next 7 days after we're starting tomorrow.
Starting tomorrow, yep, we'll have those 3 matches in a row, and then we'll have just a little bit of a lull, and then we'll have the West Fargo Invite. And I mean, it's like I said, it is fast and furious for tennis season. It's always like that. It seems like it's more so with the girls because we have the reschedules, but now the boys, we've had a couple reschedules. So now we're going to kind of go, all right, we're just going to keep playing tennis until they tell us to stop.
Until the season is officially over. And I suppose too, as a coach, these guys, how do you feel they've improved though? Have you seen improvement from the beginning of the season to right now, Matt?
Yes, they are doing a lot better playing defense. So they're split stepping better. They're getting lower, and they're keeping the rackets more still on defense, which then you can explode any direction you want to explode, because we were more standing up with our racket high. Anytime anybody hit a good shot, we couldn't get there.
Sure.
Now they're getting more balls, and that makes the points a lot more fun and interesting. So tomorrow, if Red River gets an overhead, if we can get another ball back and then makes them back up and get another overhead, it makes the tennis more fun. And I think we're doing a great job, better job at the defense. And I really want to give a shout out to our JV, because yesterday I said we played JV and varsity together games. At the beginning of the season, it wouldn't work because one of the varsity players would just hit one ball over, and the JV player might not get the ball back.
Right.
Yesterday when we did that, all the JV players were getting balls back. They were playing some good points, and I was just highly impressed with how much the JV has improved. I mean, the varsity too, but the JV has improved a ton since day one.
Makes you feel good as a coach when you see that.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely. Well, again, tomorrow, the home opener of Grand Forks Red River gets started at 4 o'clock up on the North Courts.
Yep.
And that is Highlander Tennis. And then Minot coming in again on Friday. And then next week, the dedication with Fargo Shanley. And that will be at 4 o'clock, dedicating those 3 new courts over by the swimming pool up on the north side. Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You bet. Matt Nielsen, head volleyball. I was going to talk about volleyball. Head tennis coach from the Valley City Highlanders. We're back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network.